Our next fraternity speaker is the president of the National Fraternity, Nick Franki. Nick has a long, distinguished history with Alpha Phi Delta. Nick pledged Gamma Lambda at Fordham in 1987, has served 13 years, 13 terms as president of the New York Alumni Club, and held numerous offices at the national level. Nick has been the vice president for undergraduate affairs, the district governor for the Manhattan District, vice president membership education from 2007 to 2013, national vice president from 2009 to 2011, and has served as national president from 2011 to the present. Nick also, on his private side, has worked for a number of Fortune 500 firms for the last 20 years, normally in the capacity of vice president and chief operating officer. I'd like to now bring to the podium Nick Franki, national president.
Good evening. Is everyone having a great time? Such a great time this evening that during the cocktail reception, my brother Alex, chairman of the foundation, and the incoming national president, Chris Mancusi, we got together and we said, how can we top this? But where there's a will, there's a way. And I think we'll play with the terms a little bit and figure out exactly what we'll call it. But I can't think of anything better to top off this evening than to say that maybe we should form the 105 year, the 105 Society, for us to do this again in 5 years. What do you say, Tony? We'll work on it. We'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. Anyway, what makes tonight great, absolutely fantastic, is that we have brothers here that literally were inducted this past week. We have brothers in this room that have been brothers from 6 days to 60 years. Congratulations to all of us for that. Amazing. Amazing. I actually want to briefly, acknowledge two groups. I'd like to ask all the lovely ladies of the room to stand for just a second, please. All the ladies stand. All the ladies stand. Thank you. All the ladies stand. We have a lot of recognition here this evening, but behind every good man is a superb woman. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. You make us who we are. Number two, I'd like all the undergraduates to please stand. All undergrads, please stand. All undergrads. Woo! We do this thing of ours for you. These gentlemen here are the ones that are going to be here for our sesquicentennial, when Alpha Phi Delta celebrates 150 years. Do I have a promise from each of you that you will be here 50 years from now? Thank you. Thank you. Please sit. I think what makes Alpha Phi Delta great is what Tony... Shh, brothers. Shh. Shh. Please. Don't worry, you'll get your coffee and your cake. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. What makes Alpha Phi Delta great is its dedication to service. Service to God. Service to country. Service to community. When you take a look at all of the brothers that served, we heard it this evening from Charlie Garbarino, 2,500 brothers served in our 5 different branches of the military. These guys, these brothers, tremendous. Over 3% of our brothers that had served actually gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Tremendous. As a matter of fact, one of our 7 founding fathers passed away during military service during World War I. It's throughout our entire history. Again, service to God, service to country, service to community that makes us great. And I think that that's something that's going to be pervasive throughout our next 100 years. And when I was putting together some thoughts tonight, my darling wife Angela said, Nick, don't do always what you do, which is shoot from the hip. And I promised her that I wouldn't, and I knew I needed to come up with a little something that was prepared, and the inspiration came to me today. Did anybody have the opportunity to go to the Lincoln Memorial? Phenomenal. Phenomenal. One of our greatest presidents. And he had one of the actual most pivotal speech in U.S. history after the battles of Gettysburg. And I, as a history major during undergrad and grad school, I took a look at that and was impassioned and empowered, and I felt that I needed to impart wordsmith that a little bit, those 265 words. So I'd like to close with, and at the end, ask for a hand clap at the end of this for our next 100 years, and just share these words with you and tailor them for Alpha Phi Delta. So please bear with me just for a second. 50 years ago, our 7 Italian founding fathers brought forth on this continent a new fraternity, conceived in Italian brotherhood and dedicated to the proposition that our bonds are eternal. Now we are engaged in our great centennial year, testing whether our all-volunteer Italian-American heritage fraternity, or any fraternity so conceived and so dedicated, can not just endure, but thrive in our 2nd century. We are met in Washington, D.C. to celebrate our centennial. We have come to dedicate and celebrate our first 100 years and to mark it as the final resting place for those who gave of their time, gave of their talents, gave of their treasure, that fraternity might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow our first 100 years. The brave 20,000 brothers, living and dead, who struggled during our first century have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say tonight, but can never forget what our founders did at Syracuse University in 1914. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they who have fought have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us here to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from our honored founders we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we are here highly resolved that these brothers shall not have died in vain, and that this fraternity, under God, shall have a new birth of brotherhood, and that fraternity of our brothers, by our brothers, and for our brothers, shall never perish from this earth. Gentane, everybody. All brothers, please stand. For our first 100 years and for our second 100 years, the fraternity hand clap on 3. 1, 2, 3.